welcome. You're watching Midday Prime. I'm Sakal Bhatt. In the next 1 hour, we'll be keeping an eye on all the COVID-19 numbers coming across the country, vaccination drive, and also numbers coming across the globe. And most importantly, the top story on Midday Prime. Prime Minister will be inaugurating and dedicating to the nation several key projects of the railways in the state of Gujarat. We will be getting you more on that, a build up to that mega event. Also on the show, quick roundup of world news and much more. But first up, headlines. Prime Minister interacts with Chief Ministers of 6 states, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Odisha, Maharashtra and Kerala today. Takes stock of the latest COVID situation, says need to move ahead with a focus on test, track and treat, vaccinate approach. Prime Minister warns about the possible third wave of COVID-19, says need to take proactive measures to stop the possibility of a third wave of COVID-19, emphasizes upon strengthening health infrastructure and focus on rural areas. Prime Minister to virtually inaugurate multiple railway projects and 3 new attractions at Science City, Ahmedabad today. Projects include newly redeveloped Gandhinagar Capital Railway Station, Aquatic Gallery, Robotic Gallery and the Nature Park in Science City, Ahmedabad. In other news, over 20 people fall into a well in Ganjbasora area in Odisha and Madhya Pradesh. 4 persons reportedly dead, around 19 rescued. Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan pays homage, announces ex-gratia of rupees 5 lakh each for the deceased and compensation of rupees 50,000 each to the injured. Orders high-level inquiry into the incident. Rescue operations as we speak are underway. And India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage surpasses 39.53 crore. In Maharashtra, fully vaccinated domestic international passengers won't need negative RT-PCR report. Extends validity of RT-PCR test to 72 hours before commencement of journey from 48 hours. Meanwhile, states continue to reopen schools for higher classes. Puducherry decides against reopening of schools, colleges from today. Haryana schools reopen for classes 9 to 12 from today. 38,949 new cases reported in the last 24 hours. In a big breakthrough, 2 LET terrorists killed by police and security forces at Alambar colony, the Dunbar area of Srinagar. Search operations are currently underway. Further details are awaited. And in an astonishing revelation, Afghanistan Vice President Amarullah Saleh exposes Pakistan's collusion with Taliban. Says Pakistan providing air support to Taliban, threatens to hit back if Afghanistan forces try to retake border town. Germany continues to reel out a heavy flood situation. Over 80 dead, more than 1,000 people missing, and floods cause heavy damage in Germany's worst mass loss of life in years. And on Midday Prime, let's begin with the big news. And of course, we are leading with the big story of the day, that is Prime Minister Narendra Modi's today's interaction with the Chief Ministers of 6 states with high positivity rate. These are the states which witnessed high positivity rates: Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Odisha, Maharashtra as well as Kerala. The Prime Minister discussed COVID-19 related situation and related issues with the Chief Ministers of these states and also took stock of the overall situation in terms of numbers. Prime Minister said that we need to move ahead with a focus specifically on test, track, treat, vaccinate approach.
तीसरी लहर को रोकने के लिए कोरोना के खिलाफ प्रभावी कदम उठाया जाना नितांत आवश्यक है। इस दिशा में स्ट्रेटेजी वही है, टेस्ट, ट्रैक, ट्रीट एंड टीका, इसी वैक्सीन की हमारी रणनीति फोकस करते हुए हमें आगे बढ़ना है। माइक्रो कंटेनमेंट जोन्स पर हमें विशेष ध्यान देना होगा। जिन जिलों में पॉजिटिविटी रेट ज्यादा है, जहां से नंबर ऑफ केसेस ज्यादा आ रहे हैं, वहां उतना ही ज्यादा फोकस भी होना चाहिए। पूरे प्रदेश में टेस्टिंग को ज्यादा से ज्यादा बढ़ाया जाना चाहिए।
Prime Minister also said that the states reporting high new cases need to take proactive measures to stop the possibility of the resurge of COVID-19. Prime Minister also emphasized upon strengthening health infrastructure and also specific focus on the rural areas as well.
महाराष्ट्र और केरल में केसेस का इजाफा लगातार देखने को मिल रहा है। ये वाकई हम सबके लिए, देश के लिए एक गंभीर चिंता का विषय है। इसलिए आशंका स्वाभाविक रूप से बढ़ जाती है कि अगर स्थिति नियंत्रण में नहीं आई तो मुश्किल हो सकती है। बहुत जरूरी है कि जिन राज्यों में केसेस बढ़ रहे हैं, उन्हें प्रोएक्टिव मेजर्स लेते हुए तीसरी लहर की किसी भी आशंका को रोकना होगा।
In fact, Prime Minister has urged the states to use funds from emergency response package to further bolster health infrastructure and also fill the infrastructural gaps. The central government has recently in fact released rupees 23,000 crore emergency response package to combat COVID-19.
देश के सभी राज्यों को नए आईसीयू बेड्स बनाने, टेस्टिंग क्षमता बढ़ाने और दूसरी सभी जरूरतों के लिए फंड उपलब्ध करवाया जा रहा है। केंद्र सरकार ने हाल ही में 23,000 करोड़ 23,000 करोड़ रुपए से ज्यादा का इमरजेंसी कोविड रेस्पॉन्स पैकेज भी जारी किया है। मैं चाहूंगा कि इस बजट का उपयोग हेल्थ इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को और मजबूत करने के लिए हो। जो भी इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चरल गैप्स राज्यों में हैं, उन्हें तेजी से भरा जाए। खास तौर पर ग्रामीण इलाकों, रूरल एरियाज, उस पर हमें ज्यादा मेहनत करने की जरूरत है। इसके साथ ही सभी राज्यों में आईटी सिस्टम्स, कंट्रोल रूम्स और कॉल सेंटर्स का नेटवर्क मजबूत करना भी उतना ही जरूरी है। इससे रिसोर्सेज के डेटा, उसकी जानकारी पारदर्शी तरीके से नागरिकों को मिल पाती है।
Prime Minister Modi also said that we need to follow strict COVID protocols and avoid going out in crowded places, adding that the need of the hour is to spread awareness on this as well.
सार्वजनिक स्थलों पर भीड़ लगने से रोकने के लिए हमें सजग, सतर्क और सख्त होना पड़ेगा। सरकार के साथ साथ अन्य राजनीतिक दलों, सामाजिक संगठनों और एनजीओज को, सिविल सोसाइटी को साथ लेकर हमें लगातार लोगों को जागरूक करते रहना है।
Let's move on to the other big story on Midday Prime. Gujarat will be getting slew of gifts today in the evening. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be virtually inaugurating several projects of railways. Prime Minister will also inaugurate the world-class aquatics and robotics gallery and nature park in Gujarat Science City during the event. Here's a report.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate and dedicate to the nation several key projects of railways in Gujarat on 16th July via video conferencing. The Gandhinagar capital railway station will be an architectural marvel, housing many unique structures under one roof. The building above the tracks has the potential to become a tourist attraction around the globe.
जो इसमें अपग्रेडेड फैसिलिटी स्टेशन पे है वो क्वालिटी सर्विस हम विजिटर्स को देंगे जो कि कॉन्फ्रेंस, एग्जीबिशंस और अदर इवेंट जो अटेंड करने के लिए गांधीनगर आ रहे हैं.
The Gandhinagar Capital Railway Station has been provided with world-class amenities at par with modern airports. Special care has been taken to make it a Divyang-friendly station. The complete building is designed and provided with green building rating features. The state-of-art external facade will have daily theme-based lighting with 32 themes. PM will also inaugurate several railway projects including gauge-converted cum electrified Mehsana-Varetha line and the newly electrified Surendranagar Pipavav section. The Prime Minister will also flag off 2 new trains, that is Gandhinagar Capital Varanasi Superfast Express and MEMU service trains between Gandhinagar Capital and Varetha. Apart from these infrastructure major projects, Prime Minister will also inaugurate the Aquatics and Robotics Gallery and Nature Park in Gujarat Science City. The Aquatics Gallery consists of different tanks dedicated to aquatic species belonging to different regions of the world, including a main tank of major sharks from around the globe.
करीब 79 डिफरेंट प्रकार के भिन्न प्रकार के रोबोट और कुल मिलाकर के 200 से अधिक रोबोट वहां पर रखे गए हैं.
The Robotics Gallery is an interactive gallery showcasing the frontiers of robotic technologies. A unique attraction in the gallery is a reception humanoid robot that communicates with visitors alongside expressing emotions such as joy, surprise and excitement. The park includes several features like a mist garden, chess garden, selfie point, sculpture park and an outdoor maze. The park also contains various sculptures of extinct animals such as mammoth, terror bird, saber-toothed lion replete with scientific information. Bureau Report, DD News.
In fact, Railway Minister Ashwini Vaishnav has said that the newly built Gandhinagar Capital Railway Station has all modern facilities, adding that the government's mission is to fulfill the aspirations of the people.
बहुत ही सुंदर स्टेशन बना है. ये देश भर के लिए एक मॉडल बनेगा. देश भर में प्रधानमंत्री जी का विजन है कि जनमानस को अच्छी से अच्छी सुविधाएं मिले. एक ऐसा विजन है कि हमारे जो एस्पिरेशंस है, देश के एस्पिरेशंस है, उनको साकार रूप मिले.
Right, let me quickly go across to Nishit joining us from Ahmedabad, my colleague. Nishit, first of all, take us quickly through these important projects in a railway domain and how it's actually a big way forward in terms of modernization of Indian railways. Nishit, good afternoon. Nishit, can you hear us?
Yes, Sakal, absolutely. Today is a big day as far as Ministry of Railway is concerned. It has added one more feather in the success of Ministry of Railways. This station is one of the examples of modernization. This was the capital railway station. Earlier, it was a small railway station where only one rail gadi used to come from Ahmedabad to Gandhinagar. After that, it was Prime Minister Narendra Modi's dream project, and that's why before 4 years he had laid a foundation stone, and after this 4 years this railway station is the biggest example and of his long visionary. And you can see, I would request my cameraman to show you the how it has been made. If we talk about the entry gate, you can see the entry gate. The passenger has to drop there first of all, and then he has to come towards this is the main area and main gate of Capital Railway Station Gandhinagar. After that, he has to go left towards ticket counter. I would also request cameraman to show the ticket counter. There are 8 ticket counters are there. The person they have tried to minimize the crowd, and so as to avoid any difficulties. There are 8 ticket counters. After that, after purchasing the ticket, the person has to go through the scanning, and you can see the scan box also, and for the luggage. The metal detectors are established, and the person has to go through this security checking. Then, apart from that, it is also an example, this railway station is also an example of art and culture. If I would tell you, on the left hand side, the monuments and the drawings of monuments and architects, you can see the Adalat's temple is there, then Sidi Sayyid's mosque, after that Modera Sun temple, Gandhi ashram, you can see the Kirti Toran, and on the right hand side they have made the art gallery where the Kutch Ranotsav's glimpse they have tried to show. You can see this, the camel and the tents, you can see where every year the Kutch Ranotsav is being organized by Gujarat government.
Right,
so this is the basic, and it is the mixture of art, modern techniques and culture.
Let's elaborate a bit on those out-of-the-box spectacular architectural features that this modernized Gandhinagar railway station is also going to showcase to the world.
Yes, Sakal, there are, if you go at the airport, you will find the same facilities here also where you get at the airport. You will find here the feeding room, the waiting room, which is the capacity of more than 300 people. Apart from that, this railway building, this railway station building is completely eco-friendly building, and you will also find the feeding room also here. So each and every thing, it's a Divyang friendly station also, because everywhere you will find the ramps and lift. Apart from that, on the upstairs you will find multi-purpose air-conditioned room so as to organize some programs or some conferences. And let me tell you one thing, it was Prime Minister Narendra Modi's dream to create a magnetic center as far as business related activities are concerned in Gandhinagar, because twice a year Vibrant Gujarat Global Investors Summit is being organized by the Gujarat government, and under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the Mahatma Mandir Convention Hall was built. After that, Gandhi Kutir, and now this is the capital railway station. So it will increase the connectivity, it will increase the business, it will increase the tourism, and the Gujarat will also grow, and there will be also
and also one of the best features, Nishit, if you could just talk a bit about that as well.
Sakal.
Yes, and one of the best features rather, if you could also like to talk about that as well for our Divyang friends. This is going to be Divyang friendly facility as well as not only the state of the art but the green building that it will be now touted as. Can you hear us? Okay, I think there is a bit of a time slack there for a few seconds. Nishit, just one final question. If you could quickly brief us how this is going to be Divyang friendly facility as well, a bit more about the aquatics and robotics park, that is also in fact going to attract a lot of global attention. I think we've lost that connection. We've lost that link with Nishit. We'll try and go back to Nishit Joshi in a bit. Meanwhile, that's the big story we're also keeping our eye on now on Midday Prime. Let's move on to the next segment, Developing Story. A quick update on Madhya Pradesh well incident. So far, 4 persons have lost their lives reportedly, out of which bodies of 3 have been recovered. 19 persons have been rescued, while several people are still believed to be trapped after an RCC wall around a well in Vidisha district caved in on Thursday evening. NDRF and SDRF teams, Commissioner, IG are all assisting in relief and rescue operations that are underway as we speak. Meanwhile, Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan is in Vidisha and is continuously monitoring the situation by setting up a control room there itself. Expressing grief over the incident, Chief Minister has announced financial assistance of ₹3 lakh to the families of the deceased and ₹50,000 to the injured in the incident. He has also ordered a high-level inquiry and instructed the officials to ensure the best possible medical treatment given to the victims.
घटना दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है। अभी 3 सब मिले हैं। हमने तय किया कि पीड़ित मृतकों के जो परिवार हैं उनको तत्काल 5-5 लाख रुपए की सहायता राशि दी जाएगी। घायलों के उपचार की पूरी व्यवस्था करा रहे हैं। 50-50 हजार रुपए की राशि उनको देने का फैसला किया है। इलाज के लिए और कोई जरूरत होगी तो वो भी पूरी करेंगे। पीड़ित परिवार के साथ सरकार खड़ी है और आगे भी जो जरूरत होगी उन परिवारों को की हम पूरी करेंगे। लेकिन अभी तो हमारी प्राथमिकता है कि हम इस ऑपरेशन को जल्दी से जल्दी पूरा करके लोगों को निकाल लें। उसमें पूरी शिद्दत के साथ, पूरी गंभीरता से दिन और रात पूरी टीम मंत्री सहित लगी हुई है।
So what we do know, Aditya, my colleague joins us live. Aditya, that high-level inquiry has been instituted, but most importantly, first up, a quick update on the rescue operations. Is a possibility that the death toll might possibly go up. What more are you picking up?
Yes, very unfortunate accident took place in Ganj Basoda. Right now, 3 dead bodies are recovered in Bell, and around 19 people are rescued safely. CM Shivraj Singh Chauhan also put eyes close in this operation through the Mantralaya, Bhopal. Minister of Madhya Pradesh, Vishwas Sarang, are in spot. There are lots of challenges comes in the rescue operation in the front of NDRF, SDRF team, because the nearby area of well is very slippery. Those people who lost their family members, or those people who have missing in this incident, they are also in spots, so the local administration also trying to control them. But CM Shivraj Singh Chauhan also announced the compensation for 5 lakh rupees for those family members who left their people, and also 50,000 rupees for injured people. But yes, the rescue operation is going on. The local, according to the local people, around 10 or more than 10 people may be in a well also. So that the rescue team is also trying to rescue all the people who are in a well.
All right, keep an eye on that incident. Meanwhile, thank you very much, Aditya, for that quick update. Thanks. All right, and now let's move on to the next segment, National Prime. On National Prime, first up, COVID numbers. India continues to see a steady decline in COVID-19 cases, and the country has registered around 39.53 crore vaccine doses that have been administered so far under the nationwide vaccination drive, which continues to gain a lot of traction, and over 3.01 crore recoveries have been recorded so far across the country, out of which over 40,000 plus patients have recovered during the last 24 hours. Also, the recovery rate has gone up to 97.28%, which is your 38,949 daily new cases reported in the last 24 hours. Meanwhile, India's active caseload has declined to 4,30,422. Active cases now constitute only minuscule 1.39% of the total cases, which means that the weekly positivity rate continues to remain below 5%. Well, that's the good news, and it currently stands at 2.14%, which also means that the daily positivity rate currently has is projected at 1.99%, which is less than 3% for the 25th consecutive day. That means almost a month now. And testing capacity has been substantially ramped up with 44 crore tests conducted so far. And now let's talk about the state of Maharashtra, where the Maharashtra government has exempted all fully vaccinated domestic as well as international passengers who have completed 15 days since the second dose of vaccine was administered from the requirement of the mandatory RT-PCR negative report for entering the state of Maharashtra. According to the order issued by the Chief Secretary Sitaram Kunte on Thursday, the fully vaccinated passengers seeking an exemption must have their final vaccination certificate issued through the CoWIN portal. Through this order, the state government has also extended the validity of an RT-PCR test for all other persons to 72 hours before the commencement of the journey from the existing 48 hours. The order also mentions that despite this exemption order in place, all passengers, irrespective of the status of vaccination, must scrupulously follow COVID-appropriate behavior like wearing a mask, hand washing, etc. Officials, meanwhile, have said that the government may also consider the fully vaccinated status of people to give more relaxations from restrictions. 8,000 plus, to be more precise, 8,010 new cases in the state have been reported till yesterday. Manipur government, in fact, on Friday announced total curfew across the state for 10 days. The curfew will be effective from July 18th. The decision was taken in a view of the wide prevalence of Delta variant of COVID-19. The state government on July 9 extended the night curfew from 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. in all districts across the state till July 20th. And reversing its earlier order, the Puducherry government, that's the tweet on your screen, has decided to postpone the reopening of educational institutions in the Union Territory. Decision taken following a plea from various sections that the decision to reopen institutions be reconsidered. Education Minister of the Union Territory Puducherry has said that the announcement of opening an educational institution and colleges will be made later. The administration had earlier said that schools for classes 9 to 12 and colleges in Puducherry will open from today. The government's decision to defer the reopening comes in view of Puducherry clocking in 121 fresh COVID-19 cases on Wednesday, taking the overall tally of cases to 1.19 lakh. From Puducherry, shifting focus to Haryana in North India. Meanwhile, schools in Haryana have gradually resumed offline classes for students from today, and as per an announcement made earlier, while students of class 9 to 12 are attending their classes from today itself, the schools for class 6 to 8 will be resuming from July 23rd. Meanwhile, offline classes will continue as usual for those who do not want to physically attend their classes. Students who do not attend the offline classes will not be marked absent. State Education Minister Kanwar Pal has said the decision to resume offline classes for students in standard 1st to 5th has not been taken as yet. And from Haryana, shifting focus to down south in Kerala, where Kerala started its COVID vaccination program for pregnant women following the approval of ICMR and guidelines issued by the Union Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. The campaign titled Matra Kavacham has started in all districts and leverages the services of Asha and Anganwadi workers in getting all the pregnant women at ward levels registered for vaccination. Health workers will ensure that all pregnant women under their sub-center will be vaccinated. Separate vaccination camps will be organized for them on designated days at district level. And Tripura sets a milestone for entire nation in vaccinating rural and urban population against COVID-19. Several clusters of the small state have been gradually providing at least first dose of COVID-19 vaccine to 100% of its population. Here's a detailed report.
Muhuripur, a small village in Tripura, under Muhuripur Public Health Center, is one out of 196 villages of the state where all eligible villagers have already been inoculated with first dose of COVID-19 vaccine. Villagers Swapan Patari and Arup Ratan Majumdar have expressed happiness to receive the vaccine. They also expressed gratitude to PM Modi for the same.
We have been given vaccine. We want to thank PM Modi for providing us vaccine.
Tripura is following area-wise saturation campaign and as part of it, many of the villages and urban local bodies are gradually being covered with 100% vaccinations. Mission Director of NHM in Tripura, Dr. Siddharth Shiv Jaiswal, said that the central government is providing financial help and infrastructural aid to the state.
Overall aim is to reach people in such a manner that we administer maximum doses. Regularly, our state, Tripura, has been receiving assistance from the central government, both in the form of cash, that means fund, as well as the assistance in the form of kind.
Indeed, with cooperation between centre, state and local authorities, Tripura has set an example for other parts of the country in vaccinating people against COVID-19. Bureau Report, DD India.
Moving on to more news now, the centre today told Supreme Court that no state should allow the movement of devotees to Haridwar for collecting Gangajal during Kanwar Yatra. However, it said that the states must develop a mechanism to make the water from Ganga available via tankers at designated locations so that people nearby can offer it at Shiv temples in their areas. The central government also says that the collection of water and subsequent rituals are taking place in compliance with the COVID-19 safety norms, including that of wearing masks, face masks and maintaining social distancing. Following this, the Apex Court told UP to reconsider its decision of allowing the Kanwar Yatra. The top court asked the UP government to file response by July 19th. This in fact comes days after the Apex Court issued a notice to the centre and the UP, that is the UP government, Uttar Pradesh government, on allowing Kanwar Yatra considering the present COVID-19 situation. And to talk more about the observations made by the court and yes, and the point put forth by centre and particularly UP government, my colleague Vikas, who tracks this story legally, joins us with more details. Vikas, over to you, please.
Right, Sakal, the state of Uttar Pradesh was of the opinion that a symbolic Kanwar Yatra can be allowed, and it also gave a kind of mechanism for that. The state government said that certain people can apply to the state government, and after conducting their COVID test, few numbers of people were given an opportunity to organize this Kanwar Yatra. But court took an exception on that affidavit, and court said that given the present situation where even the top leaders have expressed fear of another wave of COVID-19, any physical activity cannot be allowed during this particularly this time, and state of Uttar Pradesh, state of Uttarakhand and centre, these were the main parties before the court, and they each have given their own opinion. Uttarakhand had already outrightly rejected any idea of conducting Kanwar Yatra. Now court wants similar approach from the state of Uttar Pradesh. Court today said that UP must reconsider its point of view on conducting Kanwar Yatra this year, and now court will take up this matter on Monday. And as you have already said, that centre has already told the court that it is not in favor of conducting any kind of these yatras, particularly this year.
All right, so July 19 is the deadline set for UP to present its point of view report. Thank you very much, Vikas, for those inputs. Thank you. Well, let's shift our focus to some news coming in from Jammu Kashmir, where two unidentified Lashkar terrorists were gunned down today during an encounter in Alamdar colony in Dhanbag area of Srinagar. Search operations are still underway by police and forces. Further details are awaited.
जैसा हम जानते हैं कि हम सब की जून मंथ में 3 इंसिडेंट हुआ था, जिसमें सबसे पहले हमारे पुलिस के जावेद अहमद थे कांस्टेबल, उस पर अटैक कर दिए, उसमें शहीद हो गए थे। उसके 2 दिन के बाद एक मोबाइल शॉप ओनर था उमर नजीर, उस पर अटैक किया था दुकान पर, वो मारे गए थे। उसके बरवासा चौक पर ग्रेनेड थ्रो किया था, उसमें एक सिविलियन मारे गए थे, 3 सिविलियन जख्मी हो गए थे। ये तीनों मॉडल इंसिडेंट में ये दोनों का हाथ था। हम लोग इसको ट्रैक कर रहे थे। जब कल कंफर्म हो गया इन्फॉर्मेशन पिन पॉइंट, तो फिर सीआरपी पुलिस ने जाके उसको कॉर्डन किया, और कॉर्डन करते ही अंदर से फायर आया। फिर हम लोगों ने उनको बोले कि सरेंडर कर जाओ, अपील किए, नहीं माना। फिर उसके बाद इनकाउंटर शुरू हो गया, जिस इनकाउंटर में दोनों मारे गए।
Meanwhile, with today's operation, police along with security forces have neutralized around 78 terrorists in Kashmir Valley alone this year so far. In these encounters, 39 terrorists were affiliated with proscribed terror outfit Lashkar-e-Taiba, followed by Hizbul Mujahideen, Al-Badr, Jaish-e-Mohammed, as well as Ansarul Ghazwat-ul-Hind. In other news, BJP Chief JP Nadda held a crucial meeting with members of UP Working Committee in New Delhi today. The meeting was held through video conference. Apart from Nadda, BJP General Secretary Arun Singh, Union Women and Child Development Minister Smriti Irani and Union Minister for Heavy Industries Mahendranath Pandey attended the meeting. UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, Deputy Chief Ministers of Uttar Pradesh Keshav Prasad Maurya and Dr. Dinesh Sharma, BJP State in charge Radha Mohan Singh and Uttar Pradesh BJP President Swatantra Dev Singh were also present in the virtual meeting. Slamming earlier government on playing politics over governance, Nadda said that now the state is witnessing growth under Prime Minister Modi's leadership.
ये तुष्टीकरण की राजनीति के जाल में जकड़ा हुआ था। यही उत्तर प्रदेश अगर हम याद करेंगे तो जातीय आधार पर सत्ता को लेकर और सत्ता का दुरुपयोग करके किसी समाज के वर्ग को साथ देना और किसी समाज के वर्ग को प्रताड़ित करना यह उत्तर प्रदेश का ऑर्डर ऑफ द डे हो चुका था। विकास नाम की चीज नहीं थी। जातिवाद, भाई भतीजावाद, भ्रष्टाचार, अनाचार इसका अड्डा बना था तो उत्तर प्रदेश था। और आज जब हम बात करते हैं तो हम ये गौरव के साथ कह सकते हैं कि उत्तर प्रदेश in the last 4 years has become a state. पिछले 4 साल में ये एक ऐसा प्रदेश बन गया है जो one of the leading states of the country बन करके खड़ा हुआ है। इस बात को हमको समझना चाहिए।
Well, Danis Siddiqui, a Pulitzer Prize winner photojournalist, has been reportedly killed in Kandahar while on a reporting assignment embedded with Afghan security forces. That's the news coming in. Afghanistan's ambassador to India, Farid Mamunzeh, in a tweet has said, and I quote, "Deeply disturbed by the sad news of the killing of a friend Danis Siddiqui in Kandahar last night. The Indian journalist and winner of Pulitzer Prize was embedded with Afghan security forces. I met him 2 weeks ago before his departure to Kabul. Condolences to his family and Reuters." In fact, Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Thakur has also expressed his condolences through tweet, and I quote again, "Danis Siddiqui leaves behind an extraordinary body of work. He won the Pulitzer Prize for photography and was embedded with the Afghan forces in Kandahar," unquote. He added that he also shared one of his pictures. In fact, he shared one of his pictures on his Twitter handle. The Information and Broadcasting Minister. In fact, Danis Siddiqui had recently reported on a mission by Afghan Special Forces to rescue a policeman who had been cut off from others and had fought the Taliban for hours on his own. His reports included graphic images of vehicles of the Afghan forces being targeted with rockets. Let's stay with these. Yes, let's quickly go across to Amritpal. I think he's live with us. Amrit, what more are you picking up? Extremely unfortunate.
That's right, Shakil. Danis Siddiqui was killed last night in Kandahar in Spin Boldak when the special forces that he was riding with had a crossfire, had an encounter with the Taliban insurgents there, and in the process he was badly wounded, and late last night he passed away. One senior officer of the Afghan forces, special forces, who was on this mission was also killed. Danis Siddiqui had been in Afghanistan for the past few days, reporting and sending his pictures from Spin Boldak. Spin Boldak, as you know, is the crossing point from Afghanistan to Chaman in Balochistan in Pakistan. Now the Taliban had captured that a few days ago. The Afghan forces were trying to take that back This fighting, the last night incident occurred in the main bazaar or Spin Boldak, where the Afghan forces were trying to regain lost territory when the crossfire came and Danish Siddiqui was hurt. Then he later succumbed to his injuries. So that's what we're picking up right now. Sakal?
All right, Amrit, keep an eye on those details, developments, further developments. We'll be tracking that story very, very closely. Meanwhile, thank you for joining us with those inputs. All right, let's shift our focus to some news coming on weather front. Heavy rains were recorded in Mumbai and surrounding areas. As far as BMC, in the last 24 hours, more than 120 millimeters of rainfall is recorded in eastern and western suburbs of Mumbai, due to which waterlogging was reported in various low-lying areas of Dadar, Kurla, Chembur, as well as Andheri. Traffic in these areas was moving slowly. Now, BST has diverted buses on some of its routes. Suburban trains or Central Railway were running late. It has also rescheduled some of its long distance trains, while some trains were short terminated at Thane and Dadar. According to the BMC, Tulsi Lake supplying water to Mumbai has overflowed due to the incessant rainfall in Mumbai. High tide of approximately 4 meters is expected at around 4:30 p.m. today evening. Meanwhile, in view of orange alert for Mumbai by IMD, 3 teams of NDRF have been shifted from Pune to Mumbai as precautionary measure. And as we stay with these visuals of Mumbai, some parts of Mumbai being inundated by incessant rainfall, Shama, my colleague, joins us with more details. Shama, over to you. So, once again, that time of the year when Mumbaikars have to bear the brunt of monsoon, heavy monsoon, though the Delhiites are still waiting for it. But Shama, more details now. Specific, arrangements being made by the BMC this time to ensure that there is at least minimum inconvenience to the commuters specifically.
Talking about yesterday, we did see that heavy and continuous rainfall were recorded since yesterday night, which continues till today morning, and because of which you've already mentioned those areas. These areas, low-lying areas, have recorded all the waterlogging issues. But now we were seeing that, since morning the rains had stopped, and because of that, the water from most low-lying areas, including Dadar, Hinmata, Parel, King Circle, Gandhi Market, these areas, the waterlogging has receded, and all the areas are clear now. Vehicular movement has also become normal. Apart from that, we were also seeing that trains, especially the Central Railway services, due to the waterlogging on the tracks between Kurla and Sayan, Chunabhatti, these areas, trains were running cautiously. They were not totally shut, but trains were running cautiously, and because of that, the delay of 20 minutes to 30 minutes were recorded, and people had to face that inconvenience. The passengers had to face that inconvenience. But now it is being said the trains, the services are getting back to normal, and it would also be, completely normal in a while. Apart from that, the vehicular traffic as we speak, the West buses route were changed, and they are also getting back to normal. Tulsi Lake, you have already mentioned.
Yes.
That is one of those lakes which supply water, potable water to Mumbai, and it is a good news that it is one of the smallest lakes in Mumbai that supply water to Mumbai, and that is overflowing. So good news there that more rain is getting collected in the catchment areas, and in coming times we could see more lakes, including the upper Vaitarna, middle Vaitarna, Hadsa. These lakes can also overflow, and then the problem or the challenge of water shortage could be completely solved of Mumbaikars. You mentioned about what the arrangements were done. The biggest arrangement over here, if we can talk, is that the Hinmata area, which also is one of those areas where even little of water rainfall happens, that is completely waterlogged. So there, between the two bridges, the elevated road has been constructed so as to ensure that the vehicular movement is completely, problemless, or there is no issue in that. So that is continuing. Apart from that, in those waterlogging areas, the pumps are already put on, where the water could be pulled. The good news was that in the morning when the rains were happening, the heavy rains were happening, there was no high tide, and because of which the waterlogging, the waterlogging could recede. But now the rains could come back, and it is already mentioned that around 4:30 there could be a high tide, and that could be a problem for Mumbaikars.
All right, and for that an orange alert has already been put in place. Thank you very much, Shama, for joining us from Mumbai. And now talking about Mumbai rain, shifting focus from Mumbai to Bihar, where in Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar has made an aerial survey of flood affected areas of the state. Chief Minister has made an aerial survey of 7 districts in 2 phases. After the survey, Nitish Kumar said the state is witnessing flood due to unprecedented heavy downpour before scheduled time of monsoon. Chief Minister also held review meeting with DMs of flood-ridden districts and instructed them to speed up relief and rescue operations. Meanwhile, there is no let-up in flood situation in Bihar. Several rivers including Bagmati, Ghandak and Kosi are flowing above danger mark. Flood situation in East and West Champaran has reportedly worsened following rise of water levels of River Ghandak. Rail traffic on Darbhanga Samastipur rail section has been suspended following inundation of railway track. 10 trains on this route have been cancelled, while long route trains have been diverted to alternate routes. And now it's time to get you what's making news across the globe. Well, in series of events unfolded after the US's withdrawal from Afghanistan, Afghanistan forces have killed 20 Taliban insurgents in Shuhada district of Badakhshan province of the country. A statement from Afghanistan's defense ministry on its Facebook page has revealed that one of the insurgents killed in the strikes include a key commander of Taliban. Clashes between the Taliban and the government forces meanwhile have escalated and intensified as US-led international forces have been withdrawing. The Taliban have captured several districts and border crossings in the north and west. Earlier on Thursday, a senior Afghan government official in Kabul, Nadir Nadri, has said that the security forces were working to push back Taliban fighters and regain control over 190 districts. And getting some news from Germany now, the number of people who lost their lives in the heavy floods in the western part of Germany has increased to 81. More than 1,000 people are missing in one of the regions of Germany. Swollen rivers caused by record rainfall swept through German towns and villages, leaving cars upended, houses destroyed, people stranded on the rooftops in the town of Skud. Houses were reduced to piles of debris and broken beams. Roads were blocked by wreckage and fallen trees. Floods have caused Germany's worst mass loss of life in years. Flooding in 2002 earlier killed 21 people in eastern Germany and more than 100 across the wider Central European region. From Germany, let's talk about Turkey, where rescue divers raced against time to search for missing people after heavy rainfall triggered flash floods and landslides in Black Sea province of Rize. At least 6 people were killed and 2 others went missing in floodwaters as roads were blocked and several houses collapsed. Authorities maintain that flash floods triggered power blackouts in the area and cut access to dozens of villages. Floods are common along Turkey's Black Sea coastal region at this time of the year. We're getting some news from South Africa. 10,000 soldiers were in streets as of Thursday to help quell days of looting and violence. South Africa's defense minister had said that she wanted to deploy up to 25,000 soldiers in KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng provinces, which bore the brunt of the several days of violence. The death toll in the violence has reached 117, while declaring the situation in KwaZulu-Natal province as volatile. The rioting first broke out in response to the jailing of ex-President Jacob Zuma last week for his failure to appear at a corruption inquiry. It swiftly degenerated into looting and destruction, driven by widespread anger over the hardships and inequality that nearly 3 decades of democracy since the end of apartheid have failed to address. Meanwhile, the death toll has risen to 117 in South Africa. And now shifting focus to the latest updates on COVID-19 front from across the globe. So the virus has infected more than 18 crore plus people worldwide. The numbers on your screen, while the number of recoveries stand above 17 crore mark, 17 crore 31 lakh to be more precise. COVID-19 has claimed over 40 lakh 84,000 lives globally. The US continues to remain worst affected with the disease, with the number of cases crossing 3 crore 48 lakh and death toll mounting above 6 lakh 24,000. That's how the numbers are stacked globally. Total cases crossing 18 crore mark, and now it's time for stories and all the action coming in from the world of sports. And for Sports Prime, my colleague Narayan joins us. Narayan, it's a power-packed sports team and sports roundup lined up, considering athletes at the Tokyo Olympics. The Indian contingent particularly are all geared up to rise and shine. Over to you.
Thanks, Sagal. Already as the Tokyo Olympics are fast approaching and the stories of the sports are coming at the very fast pace, and right now the athletes at the Tokyo Olympics will put their medals around their own necks to protect against spreading of the coronavirus. The very significant change to traditional medal ceremonies in the 339 events was revealed by the International Olympic Committee President Thomas Bach. The medals will not be given around the neck, rather they will be presented to the athlete on a tray, and then the athlete will take the medal, him or herself.
They will be wearing masks and they will not hang the medal around the neck of the athlete. They will present the medal on a tray to the athlete, so to avoid any kind of risk of infection.
Meanwhile, Indian shooter Tejaswini Sawant from Maharashtra's Kolhapur has secured her seat in the upcoming Olympics to be played in Tokyo. Sawant, who already owns several international titles to her name, will be competing in the Olympics for the first time. Her mother is confident of Tejaswini's Olympic success.
Hailing from Kolhapur in Maharashtra, Tejaswini Sawant has won the World Championship gold medal in Munich in 2010 and is preparing for her maiden Olympic appearance in Tokyo. Talking to Doordarshan, her mother Sunita Sawant says Tejaswini is the first woman shooter from India to win a world title and has so far excelled in almost all competitions from the Commonwealth Games.
एनसीसी में थी वो, स्कूल लेवल पे, कॉलेज लेवल पे। जब वो एनसीसी में थी तब वो एनसीसी की बेस्ट शूटर और बेस्ट कैडेट भी रही है। तो एनसीसी में होते हुए उसे ये शूटिंग अच्छा लगने लगा और उसके साथ ही उसने इसमें ही करियर करना सोचा।
Tejaswini was selected at the 2006 Commonwealth Games in Melbourne, beating Asian Games gold medalist Anjali Bhagwat and the world record holder Suma Shirur. Tejaswini won 2 gold medals. She won a gold medal at the 2006 Commonwealth Games in Melbourne with Avneet Kaur Sidhu in the women's 10-meter air rifle singles and the women's 10-meter air rifle doubles. Tejaswini won a bronze medal in the 50-meter rifle 3 positions at the 2009 ISSF World Cup in Munich in Germany. She then went on to win the world title in the 50-meter rifle prone event in Munich. Tejaswini became the first Indian woman shooter to equal the world record in the 50-meter rifle prone event.
20 साल से वो ओलंपिक खेलने के लिए मेहनत कर रही थी। फाइनली उसने वो अचीव किया है। उसकी खुद की मेहनत, उसके डिवोशन, उसके पर्सनल कोच कुहेली गांगुली का उसका सहयोग, उनका मार्गदर्शन, उनका गाइडेंस, ये सब की वजह से आज तेजस्विनी अपना इंडिया का, अपना भारत का तिरंगा लहराने के लिए टोक्यो ओलंपिक के लिए प्रदेश में है।
Born in a middle-class family in Kolhapur, Tejaswini inherited the sports team from her mother. Her mother was an athlete and has represented the Maharashtra state women's team in cricket and volleyball from 1975 to 79. Her mother adds all that was left was the Olympics. And Tejaswini will do well in that too and win India a gold medal. With Bureau Inputs, Shashi Gajwani's report, Sports Desk, DD India.
Now shifting focus to tennis court, Serbian tennis star Novak Djokovic has confirmed his participation in the upcoming Tokyo Olympics. The 34-year-old player took to Twitter to inform that he had booked his flight for Tokyo and will be proudly joining the Team Serbia at the Olympics. While posting a video, Djokovic tweeted, "Cannot disappoint my little friend Kojeru. I booked my flight for Tokyo and will proudly be joining Team Serbia for Olympics." The world number one lifted his third title of the year at the All England a week ago and is now on course to try to complete tennis Golden Grand Slam. He needs to win gold at Tokyo Olympics and take the US Open singles title in September to become the first male player to achieve the feat. Germany's Steffi Graf is the only player to accomplish a Golden Slam, which she achieved in 1988. That's all from the sporting world. Back to you, Sakal.
Thank you, Narayan, for joining us. Thank you. And it's time for Life Prime. So Life Prime, you know, it's all about something that brings you smile, that brings you to smile. Stories from the world of art, culture, cinema, fashion, science and innovation. Stories that continue to inspire, stories that continue to change lives. So thousands of people have flocked to the agro farm in an interior part of Bangladesh to see Rani. Now the Rani is a dwarf cow which is awaiting confirmation from the Guinness Book of World Records as the smallest cow in the world. That's Rani on your screens. The Baksabutia breed cow is only 20 inches long, 27 inches in height. It weighs just about 26 kilograms. Though the breed in itself is short in height, Rani became a wonder by not growing beyond the small size. The Shikhor Agro Farm in Charigram in Nabinagar has drawn TV channels, media and curious onlookers to see this tiny yet fully grown cow of almost 2 years of age. So much so that the owners of the cow have decided to allow only a select few people now to see the dwarf cow fearing disease in the time of corona pandemic for the valued cattle which is awaiting recognition. She's right on your screens. Recognition from the Guinness Book of World Records. That's Rani, the dwarf cow. And with that, it's time to wrap up this edition of Midday Prime. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow same time. Meanwhile, from me and my entire team, thank you. Namaskar.